Hey friends, welcome back to the OxFit podcast. Happy Tuesday. I get to talk to you guys earlier this week. So fun. So glad you guys are here. What a start to the week we are having. Our athletes are crushing our fall baseline week this week so far. If y'all didn't get a chance to listen to our head coach Savannah's podcast from yesterday, go back, listen to it. Okay. She went through a deep dive into our programming for this week. It is our fall baseline week. It is the best week. We are going to retest all of these workouts in 8 weeks when it actually is fall and celebrate the results that we get over the next 2 months. It's going to be an awesome cycle, you guys. We've got beach bar, beach bowl. We've got endurance workouts. Today's workout is awesome. If you haven't gotten into the gym yet, look at your calendar, block an hour and come test yourself. We are just hitting everything from endurance to strength to sprint interval tests to max sets. It's just such a fun week. So if you need a purpose and a why for your training, come in this week and find it, okay? See what you like, see what you're weak at, see what you need to work on, set some goals. And the reason why it's going to be such an awesome cycle is because there's just so many fun things happening in and outside of the gym as well. There's so many opportunities to test your fitness outside of just kind of regular classes. So we have a team training for the triathlon coming up in September. We have multiple teams and individuals going to beach brawl at the end of September for a CrossFit competition. Many people have never done a type of fitness competition or race like this before. And so it's super exciting. We also have Deca Fit on the horizon in November and hopefully a High Rocks at some point. They haven't released the date yet, but there are so many things that you can sign up for and give yourself an extra purpose and extra reason why you're showing up every day. And we are starting this week, you guys, so don't miss it. So yeah, grab a friend, and if you don't know what some of these things are, then feel free to email me, Lauren@ox.fit, our head coach, Savannah Sav at ox.fit, our athletic director, East Atlanta at ox.fit, Caitlin, or, our fearless leader, Ant at ox.fit, to talk through what some of these are and to get a better understanding of what might be the right one for you to sign up for. So I would love to chat with you on all of those events and find the one that you should sign up for. So, all right, let me take a quick second before I get into some of the meat here that I want to chat about. Good morning, everybody. Coach Beefy's on. Coach Ant, awesome. Yeah, what a week, right? I had to open with some hype because the workouts are bomb. And y'all, if there are any athletes going to listen to this at some point, also thank your coaches this week because, man, getting you guys through some of these workouts this week. Yes, we do it because we love you all and we want you to get fitter. But it is really, the coaches are on it. They do extra during baseline week. So show them some love. Say thank you, give them an extra fist bump. They're here to support you through this week. So, all right. So last week I got a little vulnerable with you guys on my podcast. It was a fun one. I really enjoyed sharing my story with you and some of the scary leaps that ended up changing my life and the trajectory of my life and some big decisions that I made that have led me to where I am now as co-owner of OxFit, coach of OxFit moms. And so I hope, you guys enjoyed listening to that. If you didn't, go back and listen to it. I think there's some good lessons in there for everybody. But, I basically left home, for a D1 soccer scholarship as a collegiate athlete around 18 years of old. I then years later moved to London on really nothing but a feeling and, a relationship with my British husband now. Walked away from a stable career at a big consulting firm and a stable paycheck to build OxFit from the ground up with my husband. And then I also became a mom during a pandemic, which is probably in history, the worst time to become a mom. So none of those things felt safe in the moment, right? None of those, if you looked at them and analyzed them, were safe decisions, but every single one of them led me to doing something so rewarding, life-changing, that led me to the path of becoming who I was meant to be and doing what I was meant to do, which is here talking to you today. So really kind of the summary of that was do scary stuff, get uncomfortable, and you'll find that you get more comfortable getting uncomfortable, and that's where change happens. That's where results come. And every single one of those moments was worth it, right? So I say this and use my story because I'm watching that same thing kind of play out right now in a lot of our members. This summer, they're taking their own leaps, right? Whether small or big, but they're signing up for stuff, putting themselves out there, trying something new. Some of them are doing their first ever triathlon, which is scary. Some of them are doing their first ever race or first ever fitness competition. And for some of that means like getting into open water for the very first time, not knowing how their body's going to respond. For others, it's clipping into a bike, a road bike for the first time, maybe in years, wobbly and unsure in a new season of life. It's scary, and they're doing it anyways. They're showing up, they're doing the training, they're trusting us with their fitness. And that's what a leap looks like. It doesn't have to be a cross-country move. Sometimes it's just showing up to a swim practice with your heart pounding out of your chest because you're nervous. The same kind of courage, just a different arena. So if you've been following along with me this summer, on our OxFit Instagram page, you may know that we are headed deep into triathlon training right now. We're shifting gears and endurance season over here at OxFit. And we're testing out a lot of endurance workouts in this baseline week. Our endurance club just finished training for the Peachtree Road Race, which is a big 10K, the largest one in the country. And now we're doing group bike rides. This weekend, we're going to Lake Allatoona at Red Top Mountain and doing our first group open water swim practice. We have brick workouts on the horizon where we ride a bike and then we get off and go do a run right away. And we're all building towards this triathlon in the Gulf Shores together. Some of us are doing sprint distances. Some of us are doing Olympic distances. Some of us are doing duathlons. And honestly, this time of year always gets me thinking about something that I want to talk about today. Because here's the thing, I've been coaching athletes, in endurance seasons now and crossing triathlon finish lines for the first time for 5 to 10 years, really, since I started doing them 10 years ago. And so it's been, really like in depth, like with some breaks of having babies, but 5 years of watching people train for their first sprint triathlon, their first duathlon, their first full Olympic. And if there's one thing I've learned over and over again, it's that quality matters so much more than quantity, especially if you feel like you're a little late to the game. Like shoving it all in a short period of time isn't the answer. Quality training over quantity is what's going to get you across the finish line. And I know that sounds like counterintuitive, especially in endurance season. You'd think maybe more miles, more swims, more time logged equals more preparation, right? But I promise you, yeah, you need to be running once a week. Yeah, you need to be getting in a pool, right? Every so often, maybe once a week at minimum, but only once. The magic isn't in piling on more cardio. The magic is in getting strong enough so that your body can actually handle the demands you're asking of it and knowing how to fuel and recover at the same time. And so that's really what today's episode is about, working smarter, not harder, to get really any type of result that you actually want, right? Especially if you're a woman and a mom in this season of life, if you're postpartum, perimenopausal, busy, tired, stretched in 100 different directions, because more doesn't always mean better. Sometimes more actually works against you. And so today I want to break down exactly why and give you my 4 tips to shift how you're thinking about your training. Okay, so before I get into the tips, I actually want to tell you a story about my client, Liz, because she's exactly who I am talking to today. And she is actually who I'm featuring this week in my content week. All week long, I'm going to be sharing Liz's results, and so I'm going to start with a little bit of her story. So Liz is a busy mom. She works full time. Her plate is full, before she even thinks about fitness. She has a baby that's going to be celebrating her first birthday soon. And she's dropping her off at nursery school, figuring out and planning her day around then her pickup time. She has work projects and deadlines in the middle. She is a big deal. She's a VP. She is on meetings after meetings. She travels for work. She's a busy woman. She's still breastfeeding. She's planning dinner. She's working with me on her nutrition. So she's also, really focused on making sure she's fueling her body correctly throughout the day, eating frequently, eating enough. When is she getting the laundry done? When is she breastfeeding? All of that, the whole thing, right? And if you're a busy mom listening to this probably sounds familiar. It sounds impossible sometimes to find that hour on top of all of that to prioritize yourself. When Liz started with us, she wasn't trying to become a professional athlete at 8 weeks postpartum again, right? She just wanted to feel strong again. It was very early in her return to fitness. She just kind of got cleared from her doctor. She was on maternity leave still, and she wanted to start feeling like herself again and loving her body again. And she wanted to do it the right way. She really wanted to focus on rehabbing her core and her pelvic floor, and moving through fitness at the right pace for her after having a C-section. So it wasn't easy scheduling in the time to get her workouts in around May's nap time and her feeding windows and all of that. She was also really navigating breastfeeding, which is hard on its own. But at 8 weeks postpartum, she committed to getting into the gym 3 times a week, not 7 times, not twice a day, just 3 to 4 consistent quality sessions. And her results have been incredible. Not because she was grinding herself into the ground, because she was doing the right things consistently, giving her body what it actually needed to adapt and change. In 8 weeks, in that first period of us working together, she lost 5 pounds, 2 inches, fit into her pre-pregnancy jeans, and felt more confident in her body. Now she's almost a year postpartum, and those results have just kept coming. And now she's back to running, back to jumping. We've done DECA fitness competitions together. And she's looking at setting bigger and bigger fitness goals. But Liz didn't need more to do that, right? She needed a plan that worked for her, a plan that was smarter, not harder. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you and walk you through right now. So let's get into it. So these are the top 4 tips, kind of a this or that style, to focus on how to work smarter, not harder, the ones that will actually get you results. So number 1, should you run more or lift weights more to see real changes, real results in your body? So if you're in this season of life, postpartum, perimenopause, anywhere in between, running miles and miles is not the answer. I know it feels productive. I know there's something satisfying about logging distance, especially if you have, a triathlon type goal on the horizon. But here's the truth. You can run once a week. You do not need to run every day to get better, to get leaner, to get healthier. What you need is to prioritize strength training 3 times a week minimum. Strength is what protects your joints, builds the muscle that supports your metabolism, and literally builds the bone density that you need heading into perimenopause. Running alone won't do that for you. Lifting will. Same goes for when you think about training for an endurance goal like a triathlon or a 10K, right? You want to protect your joints, build the muscle endurance that it takes to push through a long race. Beating yourself up, pounding the pavement 3 times plus a week is not the answer. At the end of the day, it's not about how many miles you can log. Pounding the pavement every single day isn't what's going to change your body in this season of life. 3 focused, intentional strength sessions a week will. That's where the real transformation happens. Okay, next one. Number 2. So should you actually ramp up your training and do multiple sessions per day, or focus on improving your sleep and recovery? Where should you put your focus and your time if you have minimal time? And I get it. The hustle mentality tells us that more is always better. 2 workouts a day feels like what you should be doing if you have a goal, right, that you're really focused on. Squeeze in some extra cardio. Never take a rest day. But in this season of life, less really is more. Your body needs time to adapt to the stress that you're already placing on it. Between work, kids, hormone shifting, sleep that's already fragmented if you have kids waking up in the middle of the night still. Your nervous system's carrying a lot. And adding more training sessions on top of that doesn't build you up, it breaks you down further. And here's the science behind it in plain terms. Strength training works by creating small amounts of stress on your muscles, and it's actually during sleep and rest that your body repairs. And that's where the muscle tissue comes back stronger. That's when the magic happens, not during the workout itself, but afterwards. So if you're not sleeping well and you're not giving your body time to recover, you're not getting the return on the effort that you're already putting in. Worse, your cortisol stays really elevated, which can make it even harder to lose fat, harder to build muscle, and harder to feel rested no matter how much you sleep. So if you're a mom with limited time on your hands, this is actually good news. You don't need more hours in the gym to see results. You need to protect the hours that you're already putting in by making sure your body actually gets to use them. Prioritizing 7+ hours of sleep when you can, and giving yourself at least one true rest day a week. It's not slacking off. It's the part of the plan that makes everything else work. All right, point number 3. So you're busy. So should you just eat clean because you're so busy? Just try to eat as clean as you can? Or should you dive into this macronutrient counting thing? And this is where knowledge is key. You don't need a perfect diet, but you do need to understand what you're actually putting in your mouth. Are you getting enough protein to support the muscle that you're building in every session that you do at the gym? Are you eating enough overall to fuel your training? Or are you under eating and wondering why you feel exhausted and aren't getting results? So this isn't about restriction, it's about awareness. Once you understand your macros, the amount of protein, the amount of carbs, and the amount of fat you should be eating every day, you can make informed choices instead of guessing and hoping. And here's the part that makes this doable for a busy mom with almost no time to spare. This is genuinely the area where a small amount of effort gives you the biggest return. So you do not need to weigh and measure your food every single day. You don't need to be perfect. Like, that's not realistic. And honestly, it's not necessary. What I want you to do instead is sit down once a week, just once, and get a real sense of your portions. Weigh and measure for a day or two if it helps. Figure out roughly, right, what your protein, carbs, and fat look like on your plate, and then build a simple plan from there and eat the same things every day, right? At least like Monday to Saturday. Once you know what those portions look like, you can easily eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch, at least most days, right? Keep it simple, keep it consistent, and you don't have to think about it every single day. Then leave yourself room for some dinners to be a little more flexible, a little bit more fun, right? With family meals, dinner out, like, hopefully not too frequently, but whatever life brings, because you'll already know roughly what you ate for breakfast and lunch and what's left. So you can make good calls without needing to track everything down to the exact gram. Fueling is key. Your body can't build the muscle you're working so hard for in the gym if you're not giving it enough of the right building blocks. But this doesn't have to be complicated or take up more of your time than you have. A little knowledge up front buys you a lot of freedom the rest of the week. So at the end of the day, understanding your macros over just winging it always wins. Guessing might feel easier in the moment, but it keeps you stuck, wondering why you're not seeing results, wondering why you're tired, why the scale or your energy levels aren't moving, even though you're putting in the work at the gym. A little bit of knowledge really changes all of that. So once you understand roughly what your body needs, you're not restricting, you're not stressing out over every bite, you're just making informed choices that actually support the effort you're putting in. And that's the difference between spinning your wheels and actually seeing results that you're working so hard for. So if there's one area that you can put some time into, it's taking that day and measuring and weighing and getting an idea of what you're actually putting in your mouth and using that as your template for the rest of the week. All right, last one. And this one's huge. Managing stress over ignoring it. Cortisol is wreaking havoc on our bodies in this season of life. Between work stress, parenting stress, hormonal shifts, between, all of that that elevating our cortisol, it makes it hard to recover and harder to lose fat, harder to sleep, harder to feel like yourself. So this or that, staying plugged in, scrolling, go, go, go all day long, or finding that small pocket to get outside, take a walk, and disconnect from technology. Something as simple as a 20-minute walk outside without your phone can really help lower your cortisol in a real measurable way. It's not extra. This one is essential. And here's why it actually works. So getting outside away from screens gives your central nervous system a chance to shift out of the go, go, go state and into a calmer one. And even 20 minutes can bring those levels down, which then means better sleep, less inflammation, and a body that can actually adapt to the stimulus of working out, a body that's actually able to recover from training. It doesn't require, a gym membership to do this even, or extra time carved out of an already packed day. You just need to get outside and walk. It just requires stepping outside and leaving your phone behind for a few minutes. Take your dog out for a walk. So this one is easy to do. But here's the honest truth. Knowing this and actually doing it consistently are two different things. That's where having a coach in your corner makes all the difference. When someone's checking in on you, suggesting small habits like this, besides taking some sort of extra shot or medicine or supplement or whatever, a way to do this naturally, someone that's going to suggest that and hold you accountable to it and track it for you, right? That's what you need. So don't just talk about it, make it happen. That accountability is a huge part of what we build in our coaching program. It's not just about the workouts that we program for you. It's about layering in these small, consistent habits that move the needle and having someone in your corner who makes sure they actually stick. All right, guys. So those were the 4 tips. Let's do a quick recap. So if you want to work smarter and not harder in this season of life, strength training over doing more, right? Sleep and recovery over multiple sessions a day. Knowing your macros over guessing, and managing your stress over just ignoring it and continuing to go, go, go. Do not utilize that just push through it mentality. And this is exactly what I did with my client, Liz, that I'm sharing her content for all week long. Not more. We didn't do more. She didn't have time for more, right? She's a busy mom with a busy life, works full time. But we got smarter. We found the hour at least 3 times a week. We found ways to make her meal planning and nutrition simpler and easier for her as a family to do together, right? And that's why her results have been so incredible, because she kept it simple. We built a plan that worked with her body and with her life, not against it. So if this resonated with you, I want you to ask yourself, am I doing more? Am I just beating my head against the wall, trying to run more to work off a bad weekend, right? Trying to do more sessions in a short amount of time because I missed the last 4 weeks of my plan? Those aren't the same things, right? Doing more and doing what actually works is different. Get on a plan, hire a coach that's going to look at your schedule and help you prioritize the time and the things that actually push the needle forward. So if you're ready to stop pounding the pavement and start training smarter, if you want a coach who's going to build a plan around your real life, your real season, and your real goals, that's exactly what we do at OxFit. So head to the link in the description YouTube's caption below. And that to learn more, book a call, fill out the application. I'll reach out personally to set up a goal setting session. I can't wait to learn more about your goals and to find something that is meaningful and purposeful for you to train for. I would love to help get you started and to build a plan to get you there. So thanks for listening, you guys. I will see